Hey, this is BJ. Thanks for listening to our show's podcast. If you're a fan of all things geeky, you should check out my other podcast, BJ Shea's Geek Nation. We have new episodes every day, and you can check it out at bjgeeknation.com.
Your home is going into foreclosure and you feel like a financial wreck. You don't know where to turn for accurate information. I'm bankruptcy attorney Travis Gagne. Let's talk about some legal options. If we work quickly, we can propose a plan to save your home, modify the loan, or in many cases even eliminate your second mortgage. The consultation is free. I've helped hundreds of people just like you make informed decisions about whether to save their home or exit it on a reasonable, organized timeline. The chapter you choose sets the tone for the next chapter of your life. Please contact me today at choosetherightchapter.com. That's choosetherightchapter.com.
Let's play B-Migs.
It's time to play the game.
Yeah.
So everybody scream his name. B-Migs, don't be a loser.
Whoa!
B-Migs, you're a loser.
It is time for B-Migs, and it's Thursday, so let's get cracking!
It's the Kraken.
Crack all over the Blackhawks later today.
Oh, cracking all over the Blackhawks.
Yes.
And really, you'll have to settle for that because, it's also opening day, but not since the Mariners are weathered out in Seattle.
Yeah,
I think I should say in Minnesota.
Yeah, not for the Mariners, so screw baseball.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Until tomorrow.
Yeah, and then tomorrow you can watch baseball because then there's no Kraken game, so you don't have to worry about it.
Boom.
Wow.
Boom.
I see, boy, I thought we had you at least loving some kind of sports.
I love one sport right now, and it's not baseball.
Oh, man. Mariners,
Sorry.
man. People are writing about them. People are thinking some good things about the Mariners, man.
Oh, I'm sure they are.
Yeah.
Let's get to our contestants
Okay.
today. We've got Dylan in Seattle. Dylan, are you there?
Hey, how's it going?
Going pretty good. All right, Steve, get out of here. Bye. For those playing at home, Dylan has 60 seconds to answer 10 questions. Dylan, you can pass all you want, but you will only get 3 guesses per question. Are you ready?
Yep.
And in honor of Seattle Rock Day, these are going to be some Seattle Rock questions, so good luck, sir. Kurt Cobain inadvertently named the song Smells Like Teen Spirit after what item?
Deodorant.
Yes. Which branch of the armed services did Jimi Hendrix serve in?
The Army?
Yes. Soundgarden's Kim Thale earned a degree in philosophy at what university?
UW.
Yes. Which band is known for the song Float On?
Modest Mouse.
Yes. Sub Pop Records was founded in what mid-'80s year?
What was that?
Sub Pop Records was founded in what mid-'80s year?
85?
No.
86.
Yes. Which Guns N' Roses bassist played in the band The Farts early in his career?
Pass.
Which year of the early 2010s was Hart inducted into the Rock Hall of Fame?
Pass.
Which band is known for their singles Lump, Peaches, and Kitty?
Pass.
Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 started very strong there.
Dylan, you probably could have got it with the Hart one because it's just the early 2010s. You had 3 out of 4 shots.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, whenever he gives years, he usually gives you a hint on that one. But what are you going to do? And
Yep.
And you're going to be pissed off about the farts, is all I'm going to say. You know who this is.
And speaking of, Steve's probably not too happy about that either.
Oh, yeah.
Because he's coming back from my room, and we'll just say that, I was dropping some bombs in there.
I didn't notice anything.
Really?
Wow, it
Have
is
to say.
amazing with your nose. That,
Wow.
In fact, you have no sense of smell, and who knows if you got a little COVID hanging out in there.
It's like
How could you
limited
not
sense
smell
of smell.
him?
Dude, I went in there fully anticipating. Maybe I overhyped it. I don't know. But I went in there nervous, and it was okay.
Well, congratulations, because I grossed myself out during the break, so I know. I was really feeling bad for you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
You know what? In honor of it being Seattle Rock Day, how about we have a Seattle legend say it?
Yes! Yes!
Nice.
That's right.
All right.
Yes!
Kurt Cobain inadvertently named the song Smells Like Teen Spirit after what item?
Deodorant.
Yes. Which branch of the armed services did Jimi Hendrix serve in?
The Army.
Yes. Soundgarden's Kim Thale earned a degree in philosophy at what university?
DeVry.
No.
I don't know. University of Washington?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Which band is known for the song Float On?
Oh, Modest Mouse.
Yes. Sub Pop Records was founded in what mid-'80s year?
1986.
Yes. Which Guns N' Roses bassist played in the band?
McKagan.
Yes.
The farts?
The
like
farts,
you do
yes.
in the other room?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Which year of the early 2010s was Hart inducted into the Rock Hall of Fame?
2011.
No.
2012.
No.
2013.
Yes. Which band is known for their singles Lump, Peaches, and Kitty?
The Presidents of the United States of America.
Yes. Temple of the Dog was formed as a tribute to which singer?
Andrew Wood.
Yes. The Ventures provided the theme song for both versions of what TV show?
Man, Gilligan's Island?
No. That would have been cool.
Andy Mayberry guy?
No.
I don't know.
Oh, no perfect 10 for Steve. But you win Dolly Parton style 9 to 5. So congratulations on the win.
Sorry about that, Dylan.
Damn it.
It's all good.
There you go, buddy.
I was able to stump you on at least one.
Boy, and I actually think I know that one, which is really wild. But I didn't realize the Ventures were. I keep forgetting that they're from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah. Yeehaw, no.
Yeah,
and
that's
actually,
it,
props to Jeopardy because a couple of days ago, maybe or last week, this was a question on Jeopardy, so I kind of saved it in the bank for later.
And you're saying both, and the idea was both shows. So I'm just imagining. So they use the same music for the newer one, huh?
Yes.
Oh, that's really cool for the Ventures. Good for them.
Do you know what it is?
I think it's Hawaii Five-0.
Yes, you are correct.
Yeah.
Oh, duh.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I didn't know. I mean, granted, the new Hawaii Five-0 has got to be at least a decade old when it first started. So
yeah.
And I didn't know that the Ventures actually did it for them too. If it's like a new version or if they just sort of took the old version, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no idea on that. I just knew that it was a Jeopardy question, so I knew they vetted it.
That's a decent show, by the way. I mean, we watched probably 3 or 4 seasons of it, and then we were like, all right, we're done with it.
That was the one with Scott Conn in it, right?
Yes.
James Caan's son.
Because he was in Entourage around that time as well.
Oh, was he?
If I remember correctly, yes. He was like the devil on the shoulder of Vincent Chase.
Oh,
that's right.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
We watched a little bit of Hawaii Five-0 as well, and I forgot that we even stopped watching it, to be honest with you, up until right now. Like, maybe we'll have to go back and finish it.
Yeah, and I know, and my wife has started watching the new Magnum, and I'm just like, I don't know if I can watch a different Magnum. That seems like it's just sacrilege.
That's been around for a bit too, right?
Yeah, she says she likes it.
Yeah, I remember we gave that one a whirl as well. Not sure why we stopped watching it, but maybe we just forgot.
And here's the sad news. We tried watching. I showed her the trailer for Brittany Runs a Marathon, which, by the way, for you workaholics people, Jillian Bell is the main character. So I didn't realize that was. I think I'm saying her name right. But if you remember Jillian Bell from Workaholics, she's Brittany. And so Steve, I thought this was going to be a winner because I thought, the trailer looks fun. It's everything was perfect. And she was like, nah, the trailer, I think I've seen the whole movie. So she was done.
Wow.
Wouldn't even watch the movie. I was like, wow.
That's your fault for showing the trailer.
Well, that's all. She wouldn't watch something unless she knew a little bit what it was about. I mean, I'm with you. I don't like showing trailers.
Damned if you don't. What kind
of
woman is this?
Well, I think
you can ask her that question.
I'm
you know
offended.
how it is.
I found a movie that I thought you guys would like, and you're not even watching it. She's dead to me.
Now you know my life, okay? How many times have I recommended movies to you and you're like, yeah, my wife wasn't digging it.
Yeah.
I think our wives pretty much don't want any help from us is pretty much what they're saying.
Yeah, I guess we have a bad track record.
Yeah, we do.
Because whenever we start watching something and it's a little weird, she's like, is this one of those BJ shows?
Yeah. And
oh, damn.
I can't blame her because I watch a lot of weird TV. So I try to keep the ultimate weird away from her. But the fringe weird, I'm like, maybe we can sneak this by Steve's wife. And no, the weirdness comes through and she knows it's me. Yeah. It is time for Listeners on the Loose. This is, of course, a Seattle Rock Day edition of it. So we would love to hear your favorite memories of the Seattle scene. Call in now at 206-421-ROCK. You can text us at 77999. We got your calls. We got your texts at 917. And here's Pearl Jam on Seattle Rock Day.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. It's Listeners on the Loose, brought to you by Advanced Hair Restoration. Listeners on the Loose, where you pick the topic, you guide the show. 206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999. Of course, it's Seattle Rock Day, so we have a Seattle Rock Day edition of Listeners on the Loose. Love to hear your Seattle music, Seattle scene stories.
Including my favorite from earlier this morning from the guy that was whistling a Pearl Jam song while working on Eddie Vedder's house, only to have Eddie Vedder go, I like that song.
Yeah, if you got stuff like that or whatever your favorite stuff is from the Seattle scene, man, 206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999. Let's go to Gable in Tacoma. Gable, you are on the Rock.
Hey, good morning, gentlemen. I just wanted to say I really appreciate you guys bringing up the Capitol Theater and the farts because in the late 80s, early 90s, we used to go to the Capitol Theater to see Blaine Fart sing for the band The Accused.
Yep.
And I always thought that their bass player, Chewy, was really amazing. I just thought that was really cool. You know, we'd see Slam Suzanne, Seaweed, My Name. A lot of those local bands would play there. But there's one other story I wanted to share with you real quick was, you know, my friend Ed and I, we really wanted to go see Poison Idea in Seattle right around the same time, like 1990. And his girlfriend was all excited about the opening act. And we're like, whatever, we don't care about the opening act. We just want to see Poison Idea. And she's like, but I really want to see the opening act. This band called Nirvana. But we were like young kids, and we couldn't find the OK Hotel because we were just dumb kids. So we just ended up driving around Seattle. And anyway, just wanted to share that with you guys. I think it's really cool that you're mentioning all this stuff.
So did you catch it or did you miss it, the opening act?
No, we missed. I missed the closest moment to being in, you know, seeing Kurt Cobain at the OK Hotel. And I'm like, I'm watching the movie Singles and they're in the OK Hotel. I'm like, damn it, that's where it's at.
Dude, it was a hard spot to find, though. I remember the first time ever going to OK Hotel because it was kind of like, it was down near Pioneer Square.
Under the aqueduct or something.
Yeah.
It was underneath something and you just couldn't find it.
Yeah. Yeah, it was very weird. It was very tucked away. And when you found it, then you knew where to go. But the first time trying to find that place was a pain in the ass. So I can only imagine.
Right.
Oh, man. Oh, boy, that is. You know, when you think about opening acts, you don't know who they are. Of course, you don't ever think that they could be a somebody. But man, do you just wow? How did I? Oh. I would be kicking myself. All these years, I'd be kicking myself.
Well, great. Thanks for making him feel better about that.
Oh, no problem.
That's right.
Sounds like, dude, the Capitol Theater was a cool spot in Olympia. It was kind of like a smaller version of like the Moore Theater, and it still held, I think, about 1,000 people. I remember one time we were fortunate enough to get to play a show there. It was right at the height of Harvey Danger. That was like when Flagpole said it was becoming a big.
Was this
thing.
Peter Parker?
Days,
Yeah. Okay.
And so they were touring with Death Cab for Cutie, another band that we were buds with and played a lot of shows and great memories with. In fact, many great shows over at the OK Hotel with them back when they were starting and we were starting. But we got to be a part of that show, and it was such a great time. The place was sold out, and that's how we like really endeared ourselves to the Olympia music scene because the crowd was into it. And there's another great band called the Action Slacks that were a part of it. So we started getting booked in Olympia more and playing some random shows. And then the Capitol Theater's like, oh, we got booked there again. We're like, damn, that's insane. Like, we're gonna be able to fill that? That's gonna be nuts. Like, and then we get there and we realize that the Capitol Theater did a funny thing where big name bands would play. They'd play in the theater. If you were a band on our level, like maybe you could get like, 100 or so people, couple hundred people to show up, tops. They set it up so they called it the Capitol Theater backstage. And you played backstage and they filled the room up, the backstage, with the paying customers. So you were playing at the Capitol Theater, but you weren't playing in the theater. You were playing it was like the backstage setup. It was pretty weird, but it was still a lot of fun. So many fun shows there, but I forgot about that until we started talking about that with Jack White, how the White Stripes played there, and then this last caller as well.
Boy, that had to be talk about getting crestfallen, man. You get up there, you go, all right, we're going to do this. We're owning the and then you see,
yeah. But on the flip side, you're playing in front of maybe like 50 to 100. I don't know how many, somewhere around that range, and it's packed because it's in the backstage. If you try to flip it around and do it in the theater, you're playing in front of like nobody, man.
Yeah.
Like, that would have been just demoralizing. I'd rather play in front of a packed room that's tiny than play in front of in a big venue that has like 50 people.
It is weird. You're absolutely right because it's the same number of people. I was that way with comedy. It would be like, man, don't put me in a big place where there's like 100 people because again, you don't feel like anyone's in the room, and it affected how I did my act, and it really shouldn't have, but it did.
Well, it's like, granted, this is different. It's sports, but I remember going to see the Seattle Thunderbirds at the Key Arena, and they would get 3,000-4,000 fans showing up, but in a venue that would hold 15,000. that 3,000-4,000 looked pretty pathetic, even though it was a lot of people. And now you move it on over to the ShoWare Center where you get 3,000-4,000. That's a packed barn.
Yeah. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I remember when we saw some games down there in Kent, and I was like, "Whoa, this is okay." And it was like you're right. It was the same number of people, but it really looked like, man, people love hockey down here. This was the greatest move ever moving it down to Kent. It's like it's pretty much the same amount of people. Oh, all right.
How about this one? Says, good morning, guys. I got to see Mudhuddy with special guest Nirvana at Western Washington University in Bellingham in the fall of 1992. I was a freshman in high school. It was $7 to go. From Michael, the tow truck guy in Everett.
Wow, $7 to see a show. That's just nuts.
$7 doesn't even get you a drink at a show now.
No. I know.
Back in my day,
I know.
You could see Nirvana for the cost of the beer you just bought.
Yeah, it's not pretty.
Half a beer.
Right.
Yeah. You pick the topic, you guide the show. It is Seattle Rock Day. Special edition of that, too, for listeners on the loose. So whatever your Seattle scene stories, Seattle music stories, we'd love to hear them. 206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999. We got more of your calls and texts at 9:33 after Heart on Seattle Rock Day.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW.
99.9 KISW, The Rock of Seattle. It's a Seattle Rock Day edition of Listeners on the Loose, where you pick the topic, you guide the show. 206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999. We're looking for your Seattle music stories. Let's go to Chris in Renton. Chris, you are on The Rock.
Good morning, all you beautiful people.
Thank you.
Good morning, Chris. Welcome to the show. What you got for us, buddy?
So, well, I have another Nirvana story. I can piggyback on the previous text you had. I had a couple friends that were brothers that had moved up to Bellingham, and went up there to visit them one weekend. We're drinking beers, sitting in the apartments, like, what are you going to do? It's Bellingham.
Sounds about right.
Apparently the Penguin was with him, too.
One of them knew there was a show at the gym at Western Washington, and he said, dude, the back door to the gym is unlocked. It's never locked. I don't know why, but okay. So let's go. So we go, and we're watching Nirvana. They're on this nice 2-foot riser. It's cool. It's intimate. It's in a gym, for God's sake. The funny part about the story is we're watching them, and like 4 songs in, the other brother, maybe the not so bright brother, says, "God, is this band going to do anything but Nirvana songs?"
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And, man, Seattle Rock Day is annually a treat. I truly appreciate it. This Week in Seattle Rock podcast really appreciates it for sure.
Oh, look at you getting your plug in.
Yeah. I am getting a plug in.
I respect that. I respect that. That's good.
Not a bad game. 206-421-ROCK. Text us at 77999. Well, Steve, what do you know what I mean?
Hey, man, you got to get the word out somewhere. And Seattle Rock Podcast, they do good stuff.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe, you know what? Hopefully he gives us a little love on his podcast and say, I want to thank BJ and Migs for letting me give him a little love to my podcast. How about that?
If not, there's going to be hell to pay.
Yeah. Look, quid pro quo, buddy. Let's get that done.
We don't hear our names on the This Week in Seattle Rock podcast show.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. There'll be hell to pay.
Yes.
Yeah.
You will be cursed.
Oh, all right.
Cursed.
Wow. Look at that. Now I got
all right, this is the toughest question, and it comes up every year when we do Seattle Rock Day, but it's fun because I think every year our answers will probably change because it's so subjective and depends on what you're feeling at the time, but you can only pick one. Which is it? Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, or Soundgarden?
I think you know my answer.
I think you're going to be on the same page as me, which is Pearl Jam.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my answer.
Yeah.
I mean, It's Pearl Jam, no brainer for me. It's then the next 3 that make it difficult. Like, I don't know where I go.
Oh,
I'm torn, man. Like, I feel like Alice in Chains would be number 2 for me if I'm doing if I'm having to put all 4 in order. And then Nirvana and Soundgarden, man, I mean, I don't listen to Nirvana a lot, but when I do, I get really into it and I remind myself of how much I love that band, but I don't always listen to them. And Soundgarden is like one of those bands, like, sometimes I love them, but sometimes I know it sounds sacrilege, but sometimes I lean more towards Audioslave when it comes to a band fronted by Chris Cornell.
Like, interesting.
for some reason, as I've gotten older, that band has connected with me a little bit more with the songs and the lyrics. And I'm not usually a lyric guy, but with Cornell, you do pay attention. So I think I'm going to go Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, Nirvana, and then Soundgarden.
Ooh, look at that rating. Okay.
The 3 and 4 are very difficult, but Pearl Jam and Alice in Chains are, those two I think are always going to be my solid 1 and 2.
Vicky, you can only pick one.
I don't think you guys would guess what mine is.
Out of the 4?
If it's Heart, I'm kicking you out of the room. You got to pick one of the 4.
Fine, I'm leaving. No.
That was a fair question, Vicky, because I thought the same thing. I thought, it's out of the 4, right? Okay.
Yes, I know it's out of the 4.
Ooh, all right, let's try to take a guess now, because Vicky kind of makes me think that, wow, you know what, I'm going to say Nirvana.
You're right, actually.
Yeah.
I was going to pick Nirvana. And it's one of those, like, I love them all, but they've all meant something different at different points in my life. And I feel like I always come back to Nirvana. And it's one of those, like, whenever I'm, you're in a certain mood, I love being able to sing along with them. Mm-hmm. And
I feel like
every time, I love it.
I don't know what it is, but I feel like a lot of women in your demographic who missed it, because you really, you weren't in your teens and 20s when Nirvana was big. But they seem to really latch onto that music when they discover it, when they're discovering music. I was so surprised at how many young women I was like, wow, you really like Nirvana a lot. Okay.
And for me, I just remember, like, I didn't really grow up listening to rock music like a lot of other people did. I didn't get into it until I was like 14 or 15 years old.
You listen to polka all the time.
I know.
So you started working
it's
there.
like polka.
It was really frustrating. We were like, we're not a polka station, so.
But I remember being in elementary school and seeing other kids with, like, their Nirvana shirts and, like, seeing Kurt Cobain's face. And even though I had no idea who he was or anything, I was always very drawn to the logo and his face, and I was like I don't know what that is. So when I got older, I was like, oh, this is who this is. And when I listened to his music and actually read the lyrics, I was like, okay, maybe this is why in a weird way I've had this connection to this person. So,
all right, Rev, you can only pick one of the 4 bands.
For me, the top one would be Soundgarden.
Nice.
And it's going into the lyrics, but really what Steve was talking about with Audio Slave really transfers for me for Soundgarden. And then even just like, I remember the first time I saw Black Hole Sun, the video on MTV, and just being blown away, and then watching it over and over and over again, because they were doing like subtle weird things to like the people's faces, and it was just so like nihilistic and dystopian. It was really, really cool.
Dude, Soundgarden was awesome because from the get-go, from like Loud Love, like when they put on music videos, they were always on Headbangers Ball when I was growing up. That was like how I found out about music. And they always sounded so much different than everything else. It didn't matter if they were playing thrash metal, glam metal, just straight up rock and roll. Soundgarden, no matter what, visually and also just sound-wise, sounded nothing like any of the other bands that they put on there. And it was always something cool and unique about them because of that.
Totally.
So do you think Danny's going to stay within the top 4?
He's going to go on XPX.
He's going to try to
100%.
Yeah. You're going to try to get
No,
there.
if it was up to me, it's Nirvana 100%. That was the first song that I learned how to play on guitar when I started learning. Yeah. And it's because like we had a couple of, like experienced guitar players, and they would always just whip out that riff, and it was like, oh, I love it. And so I went out and bought Nevermind and learned, like I sat there until I learned that song, which took me a good 2 years because I was terrible at guitar at first. I mean, I'm still not that good, but
What I loved about Nirvana too is that it somehow got under the skin and pissed off every quote unquote talented musician in the world. Because Nirvana, I mean, it takes talent to write great songs, but they were so simplistic in how they sounded, and someone who's has mastered how to play the guitar on like a very technical level would just get so pissed that this band is so popular because they were just so raw and flawed in the way that they played.
And you listen to a lot of I know you know this, Steve, but if you listen to a lot of punk documentaries like NoFX, any Green Day, all of them are just Nirvana kicked open the door for us. And that's where we are. So a lot of my favorite bands were just that they were influenced by Nirvana. So you have to give them props.
All right, so
that's fascinating. I didn't even realize that a lot of bands looked at Nirvana as kicking open the door for them because they were flawed, and you just couldn't be flawed before until they showed you could be.
And they were the closest thing to a punk sound on a mainstream level once they started getting popular. That's for sure. All right, someone has, all right, what's the harder question now? Who's the best Seattle frontman of those 4?
Oh,
Why
wow.
are people doing this to us?
Whoa.
Jeez, wow.
Oh, wow.
Shut down.
Wow.
They're all so unique, damn it.
Yeah.
I might lean towards Cornell.
Yeah.
You know,
which is funny because Soundgarden's fourth on my list.
I know,
but Cornell is number one.
I think for me it would be Cornell just because I remember seeing them at the Mercer Arena. And again, it's back to Black Hole Sun, but he came out and just by himself did an acoustic version of that. And it just completely and utterly blew me away.
Man, no one sang like Chris.
That's
why it was said on the marquee over at the Paramount when he passed. I mean, it's so true. Like, he had just such a one-of-a-kind voice.
And I'm very much biased because of the interview you did with him that I got to be, film for it and watching, like, just him be him. So I'm a little bit more biased on not just a singing level, but just...
He's a cool dude.
As a cool dude, yeah.
Yeah, you know who I've got to go with only because he paid me a compliment. So I'm
Eddie
never
Vedder, because he said
I got to go with Eddie. There's no way I can't pick Eddie. I mean,
I love Eddie's voice, but also Lane, man. There was a painful sound to that damn voice.
Yeah, Lane was a good front man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was. If I wasn't being a homer for Eddie, I think I would have picked Lane.
Kurt, I mean, that's a tough question because they're all so unique. It makes you realize, like, it's so funny how they all fall in that quote-unquote grunge umbrella, but none of them sounded anything at all alike.
Yeah, that's boy.
Oh, now people keep. All right, now what's the best MTV Unplugged from the three? Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains, and Nirvana. Why are people asking these questions, BJ?
Well, for me, they're always going to be easy answers for me.
Pearl Jam.
I'm not going to betray. I mean, between Mike and Eddie, I'm not going to betray him. I just can't.
That's such a great Unplugged. But then the Alice in Chains and Nirvana one are. I mean, the Alice in Chains one, actually Nirvana one too. They're both towards the end of Kurt and Lane's. Like, they were both struggling at that point, and they both still put out some dark but powerful performances in those Unplugged. But then Pearl Jam's one is more of like they're new and young. It's their first record, and man, they're just going for it. And there's something really awesome about that too.
Yeah, you're right, Steve. These questions are just a beating.
So it says we can't talk about Seattle Rock Day without giving a shout out to Rock Candy. We used to go there all the time, play pool with some of the bands in after hours. A few people have brought up Rock Candy. It's now a hotel, unfortunately, but that was the best concert venue. It was a dump, but it was so awesome, BJ.
We had so many weird, different ones. I remember the sit and spin.
Yep. Do your laundry while you watch your band play.
It's so weird, man.
That's fantastic.
White Stripes played there, man.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Incubus played there.
Damn.
To me, those are the moments that define a city. You just because of the fact you've got a place you can do laundry and watch, like you said, the White Stripes.
Well, because the laundromat part was in the front, and then you go through a back door, and that's where the venue was. Yeah. But it was all part of the same place, and they also had a bunch of board games. BJ, this was ahead of you before your time.
Oh yeah, look at that.
And all the board games were missing pieces because people were drunk playing them.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to play checkers, but we only have 9 pieces to work with. Okay, we're going to play 9-piece checkers.
9-piece.
So what was their what was their slogan? While you're trying to remove the brown stripes, watch the white stripes. Is that
yes,
what they were
exactly.
Wow.
Good night, everybody. That's it. That's all I got for you. It is Seattle Rock Day.
I was trying to think of an Incubus, Incubum thing. I don't know.
Incubus, Incubum. Okay.
You got an Incubum? While you want to see Incubus?
Oh, geez,
there we go.
Gross.
Yeah, that's it.
Wash your butt.
Woo! Wash your butt.
I thought you were trying to go with the Icky Thump relate with that one. I mean, that works.
Got an icky bum? Go see Icky Thump.
Yeah.
No.
Maybe that's why we were never part of the marketing department for the Sit and Spin.
Yeah, really. And really, if we cannot be part of the marketing department for a place that says do your laundry and watch a show, we really probably can't be part of anybody's marketing
department. And I'm pretty sure like their ads, whenever they would put them up, like in the Rocket and the Stranger, which are these 2 music weeklies that would come out from time, not every week, they were weeklies. But their ad was a Monopoly board. And instead of like the Monopoly pieces or like the names of like the things that would be on the squares, it was the names of like the shows that were happening.
Oh, that's cool.
The band names and stuff like that. Yeah.
Well, I got to give them credit because it's like since they had board games there, they were incorporating everything. Mm-hmm. And they were definitely way ahead of their time because, again, that's what I love about this area. Who would think of even playing board games? You're going out and you're going to watch a show. But that was, that's Seattle, man. That's why I love this area.
For the band, because sometimes you had to get there super early to load in and do your sound check. And then you could walk around and hit some other bars, but sometimes you just want to chill at the place where you're going to be playing at.
Yeah.
And you can just post up in the front of the room and just play some board games and kill some time until your set goes.
That's pretty sweet.
So 90s. I'm so pissed at my age.
Pictures? I think it became the Spitfire bar in Belltown. If I remember correctly, I think that was what it became. And I don't know what it is now, though.
I'm just mad that I'm my age. Like, I wasn't my age then.
Sorry about it. Well, I think about the other way around, Vicky. I had to have basically your generation. I was the parent of your generation, so I missed it too. Yeah, so it's like, both of us are like, why did we have to have each other? Why did I have to have a child? And why did you have to be a child? Why couldn't we have been like, Steve's age?
Yeah, for those who don't know, BJ's my mother.
I surely am. That's how, and we're going to have a show, How Vicky Met Her Mother. That's
It's such a curmudgeon thing to say, but man, that was when Seattle was the coolest.
Oh boy,
here we go. Oh, hey, it took this long to get there, though.
Yeah. It's going to come out. I'm never going to die. I'm going to die on that sword.
Wow.
Man. I don't care. Late 90s, 2000. I mean, probably before that. But when I moved out here, man, Seattle ruled. All the great venues to go see bands play at.
Yeah. So really, only Gen Z and Gen A are looking like, we don't care about you people. Then millennials are they're just like lamenting the fact that they weren't there. And then us boomers are like, man, we could have been there, but we decided to have kids. And then Steve's finally like, yeah, I was there, and I wish I was there.
Right? Yeah, I was there. It was awesome.
I want to go back.
I want to go back, damn it.
Yeah.
Man, I remember the Phoenix Underground. That place was badass, except for those stairs. Those were dangerous.
Especially drunk.
Hey.
Dude, that's what I'm talking about.
Good job. All right, we have a big question that has to be answered here on Seattle Rock Day. What do Ryan Castle and Gorillaz have in common? I'll tell you at 9:50. And here is Nirvana on Seattle Rock Day on The Rock.
BJ and Migs, mornings on The Rock, 99.9 KISW. And now, the Ryan Castle question of the day.
What do Ryan Castle and Gorillaz have in common?
Oh, that would be back and shoulder hair.
Well, that makes the three of us then.
Yeah.
Hey, we're gorilla buddies.
If I don't manage that stuff, it gets out of control, man.
Oh, so someone said Steve puts both of their glue on his head.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
They both have silver on their backs.
Okay. This is not going the right way.
They both fling poo when they're angry.
Yeah. There we go.
I was doing a lot of poo flinging yesterday.
Yeah.
Better today.
This is a very bizarre story. Zookeepers at Chicago's Lincoln Park Zoo are concerned about Amare, who is a teenage gorilla who's obsessed with looking at visitors' phones through the glass. He sits by the glass and guests just go through their pictures or videos, family photos, selfies, and he's just like, whoa. And the zookeepers are worried that this is turning him into an antisocial and distracted gorilla.
And a porn addict, I'm sure.
And a millennial.
How crazy is that? There were other gorillas, other teenage gorillas that are like showing aggression to him and rushing him. He doesn't even care. He's like, yeah, whatever. I want to see these phones. And they think it's going to make him the target of bullying by other gorillas because he's the phone guy.
Boy, this story could not be more 2022, could it?
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Ryan Castle, he's not the phone guy, but he is the 12-pack guy, and he's got that next.
BJ and Migs play of the day.
We want to know your favorite memories from the Seattle music scene.
Someone said, hey, I saw Mother Love Bone at the Kent Skate King back in 1987, which is crazy because I'm pretty sure it's the same show, but I've watched that on YouTube. I remember there's one scene where like Andrew Wood's up on stage and he's a rock star and he's just feeling the moment and all the fans are like reaching their hands towards him and one woman just let her hand go where she wanted to let her hand go and just started going up his leg and right to the groin area.
Wow.
And she's just going for it. And you just see him like in full rock star struts backwards. So he's like, yep, got to get this hand up my wiener schnitzel.
BJ and Migs mornings on The Rock 99.9 KISW.
Today's podcast was brought to you by Travis Gagne, bankruptcy attorney. He's here right now and has agreed to answer more of your questions about bankruptcy. How much does bankruptcy cost?
Well, bankruptcy costs, of course, vary depending on what type of case you're filing. There's a certain amount of court costs and other out-of-pocket costs that you're going to have in any case. The filing fees in a bankruptcy case are about $300, whether you file Chapter 7 or Chapter 13. One of the things to watch out for when you're shopping for bankruptcy attorneys or looking at the different cost options is that a lot of times, especially the really cheap places, don't tell you up front about all the court costs and whatnot that you're going to have to pay in addition to the attorney fees. So make sure that you get the full picture when you're comparing prices of bankruptcy lawyers on what the attorney fees are, how much your court costs are going to be, so that you can really make a true comparison.
Thanks, Travis. If you have more questions about bankruptcy, you can reach out to Travis anytime at choosetherightchapter.com.